I am making a Dark World deck profile update, and I honestly don't know how I feel about how the deck is currently, as I still need to learn things about the deck, like how to hand loop your opponent. But I figured I'd go ahead and make what I currently have, as this is what I'm testing with the new support from Millennia. So for the monsters, I play one copy of Ceruli Guru Dark World. I'm honestly thinking about bumping Ceruli to 2. But Ceruli has the effect that when it's discarded, you can summon it to your opponent's field, and then it has the effect that when it's special summoned, your opponent discards 1 card. So you give it to your opponent, and then its effect will activate on the opponent's side of the field, so that you have to discard 1 card. And then, depending on what you discard, like, for example, if you discard, like, Brow, for example, since I play 1 of it, you'll get to draw 2 cards instead of 1, because it was discarded by an opponent's card effect. Whereas normally, if it's discarded, you get to draw 1 card. And the Dark World monsters, their effect, in order for their effects to be used, the last thing to happen would be the discarding 1 card. I believe that's how it works. Next, I play 3 copies of Genta, Gateman of Dark World. Genta has the effect that you can discard it to add it's a Dark World from your deck to your hand. And then the only once per turn on Genta is that if it is banished, you can special summon it. And most of the Dark Worlds don't even have once per turns. As far as I know, Genta is the only once per turn on a Dark World. Well, there's only 3 Dark Worlds I can think of, 2 of which are in the extra deck. Next, I play 3 copies of Snow, Unlightly Dark World. Snow has the effect that when she's discarded, you get to add a Dark World card from deck to hand. And then if it's discarded by an opponent's card effect, you get to target a monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon it to your field in defense position. I believe, yeah. That effect of Snow is hardly ever used, so I couldn't remember if it was like level 4 or lower or just monster, and it is in fact just monster. Next, I play 2 copies of Silva, Warlord of Dark World. Silva has the effect that when discarded, you special summon it, and then discard by an opponent's card. Then they have to take 2 cards from their hand and put them at the top of the deck, or is it bottom of the deck? You put 2 cards at the bottom of the deck in any order from their hand. Because what you do with the hand loop is you use Silva twice, and then you use cards like Triple Tax Talent to put the last card back in the deck. And then afterwards, you have the 1 copy of Grapha Dragon Overlord Dark World to change your opponent's card to your opponent discards 1 card. And the next, I play 2 copies of Grapha Dragon Lord of Dark World. Grapha has the effect that when discarded, you target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. And then when discarded by an opponent's card, let's see, what was it? You can look at 1 random card in your opponent's hand, and then if it was a monster, you can special summon it to your side of the field. Which that effect of Grapha is technically another option of what you can do to get rid of the last card in your opponent's hand. But that one's a bit risky as it relies on revealing a monster. And then, for the last of the Dark Worlds, I play 3 copies of Rainbow over King of Dark World. Rainbow has the effect that when it's discarded, you can have level 5 or higher Dark World other than Rainbow from deck to hand. And then discard by an opponent's card effect, you can take... Let's see... You can special summon a level 4 or lower Dark World from your deck or graveyard to your opponent's field, or to either side of the field. So you can use this to use a Ceruli that you've already given to your opponent. Or you can give Ceruli to your opponent is basically what you can do with it. And then for the dangers, I play 1 copy of Danger Jackalope. Danger Jackalope, all the dangers have the effect where your opponent chooses a card, you reveal it, and your opponent chooses a card in your hand at random to discard, and then you special summon the danger. Or as long as it was a danger, as long as the card discarded is not a danger with the same name, you special summon the danger, then draw 1 card. And then past that, all the danger monsters have unique effects, whereas Jackalope lets you special summon a danger from your deck. one copy of Tsuchinoko. All the dangers that have effects when discarded, where if Jackalop's discarded, special summon a danger from deck. Tsuchinoko's discarded, special summon it from grave. Chupacabra lets you special summon a danger from your graveyard. Mothman lets each player draw a card and then discard a card. Nessie lets you add a danger from deck to hand, except for another copy of Danger Nessie. And Danger Bigfoot lets you target one card in the field and destroy it. And fun fact, if your opponent is using some kind of floodgate like Rivalry of the Warlords, There Can Be Only One, or even Summon Limit, you could use the danger effects. If it's something like Summon Limit or something where you can't summon the monster, it'll just stay in your hand. So you can just keep using Bigfoot until you discard the Bigfoot to then target the card that's stopping you from summoning more and then destroy it, which I actually really like. And then for monsters I'm playing that support is 3 copies of King of the Swamp. King of the Swamp can be used as one name for a fusion summon, which is actually kind of important for one of the extra deck monsters, which I will go over later. And then you can also discard to add polymerization from your deck to your hand. And lastly, I play 1 copy of Zephyros the Elite. Zephyros the Elite lets you target 1 card in your field, return it to your hand, special summon this, and then you take 800 points of damage, I believe? No, 400. And you can only use that effect as Zephyros the Elite once per duel. Then for the spells, I play 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talent. This card can only be activated when your opponent has activated a monster effect during your main phase, where you can then declare 1 of 3 effects to use, where you can either draw 2 cards, look at 1 card in your opponent's hand, or look at your opponent's hand and shuffle a card into the deck, or you can take control of your opponent's monster at the end of the turn. With this deck, you're usually going to be using it to put a card from your opponent's hand back into the deck. Then I play 1 copy of Dark World's Accession. Accession has the effect that you can banish monsters from your graveyard to then be able to fusion summon a fiend monster, or if you're using fusion summoning a Dark World monster, you can also discard materials from your hand. So it's a fusion summon by using monsters from hand or field, or you can also banish from grave and then discard if you're summoning a Dark World monster. Then I play 1 copy of Dark World Archives. Also, Accession has the great effect of you can return it from your graveyard to your hand and then discard a Dark World monster. And then Dark World Archive has the effect that once per turn you can discard a Dark World monster so that all your Dark World monsters gain 100 attack times that monster's level until the end of the turn. However, in order to use that effect, you must first control a Dark World, so you can't just discard a Dark World for no reason, unfortunately. And that has an additional effect where if a Dark World monster is discarded, you can discard 1 card. How is it? You draw 2 cards and discard 1? Or is it? Okay, no, you discard 1 card and then draw 2. So, in that, then you can only use each effect of Dark World Archives once per turn. Then I play 1 copy of Polymerization, just because you can search for it for the King of the Swamp. And 1 copy of Card Destruction, as Card Destruction just triggers all your Dark World and Danger effects once they're discarded. Then I play 2 copies of Dark Corridor. Dark Corridor lets you add a Dark World monster from your deck to your hand, and then you discard 1 card. And you can only activate 1 Dark Corridor per turn. Then I play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness lets you draw 2 cards and then banish a dark monster. However, if you cannot banish a dark monster, you discard your entire hand. The only downside of this card is that the discarding is not an optional effect, so you can't just draw 2 cards and go, oh no, guess I have to discard my hand, because that would make Dark World broken. But it's just another draw 2 cards, so I figured why not. And then lastly, I play 3 copies of the Gates of Dark World. The Gates of Dark World gives all Fiend monsters an additional 300 attack points. And then once per turn, you can banish a fiend from your graveyard for a cost, and then discard a fiend to then draw one card. But this is the main card you're using for the Dark World deck, as you just are able to constantly just keep drawing with this card, because it's a soft once per turn. So if you have multiples of it, you can use its effect multiple times. Like, I believe the most you can use it in one turn is 4 times, because you use all 3 of them and then you return it to hand with Zephyros the Elite. But that is it for the main deck. The only other thing I would change, at least how things are right now, is I would just add... Currently it's a 40 card deck, so I would make it a 43 card deck by adding 3 copies of Eradicator Epidemic Virus, just because I like being able to have options in case I can't hand loop my opponent. Anyway, moving on to the extra deck. I play 1 copy of Muckraker from the Underworld. Muckraker has the effect that if a fiend monster on your field will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can, banish a fiend instead, or destroy. Let's see. You can tribute a fiend monster instead. And then once per turn, you can discard a card, special on a fiend from your graveyard. However, if you use this effect, you're locked into fiend for the rest of the turn. Which isn't that big a deal, as most of the monsters you would want to summon are fiends. Then I play 1 copy of IP Masquerena. This just makes it so that a link monster is link summoned using it, can't be destroyed by card effects. And it lets you link summon during your opponent's main phase, as long as you use IP Masquerena. Which I find ironic that actually loses to Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Then I play 1 copy of Secure Gardener. Secure Gardener has the effect that once while it's face up on the field and it's co-linked, meaning that it's pointing to a link monster that's pointing to it, kind of like this. Then you can target 1 monster on the field and return it to the hand. Usually you'll use that to return Cerulli to hand. Then I play 1 copy of Akashic Magician. Akashic Magician has the effect that you can only link summon it once per turn, and if this card's link summoned, return all monsters this card points to back to the hand, which again, you can use it to return Cerulli to your hand, so you can use Cerulli again to make you discard a Silva. And then after that, it has the effect that once per turn, you can declare a card name, execute the cards from the top of your deck, equal to the total link rating of the link monsters co-linked with it, which that effect you'll never really use. And then if you execute the declared card, you can add to your hand. And then you send the remaining cards to the graveyard, but again, you'll never use that effect. The only effect of this you'll ever use is the bouncing effect. Which, if I remember correctly, normally you'll summon Akashic Magician and then summon Secure Gardener to its zone. Secure Gardener will bounce something, and then Akashic Magician will bounce the Secure Gardener and the other monster. Or the Secure Gardener. Security Dragon. I've probably been saying the wrong name this entire time, and if I have been, I apologize. It is Security Dragon, not Secure Gardener. I'm thinking of the dinosaur deck. For some reason. Then I also play 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn. Nightmare Unicorn lets you discard a card, target 1 card on the field, and shuffle it back into the deck. 1 copy of Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess. Appaloosa just gains 800 attack for each of its materials, and then when activates a monster effect, once per chain, Appaloosa can lose 800 attack to negate that monster's effect. Then I play 1 copy of Nightmare Griffin. Nightmare Griffin has the effect that when it's link summoned, you can discard a card, target a spell or trap in your grave, and set it to your field. I believe that's how that works. Yeah, but it cannot be activated this turn. And then if it was co-linked, you can draw 1 card. That's the other thing with Unicorn. If you use Unicorn's effect while it was co-linked, you get to draw 1 card. And then Nightmare Griffin's other effect is it negates the effect of any monster that's not linked, just meaning that if a monster is not in a zone that a link monster points to, its effects are negated. Or its activated effects are negated. I believe. Okay, yeah, their activated effects cannot be activated. So, summoning something like Buster Blader, for example, won't be stopped by Nightmare Griffin, but Stardust Dragon, for example, wouldn't be able to protect anything. Then I play one copy of Staryuja Scoldred. Staryuja Scoldred has 3 effects depending on how many monsters were used to link summon it, where if you use 2 or more, any monster summoned to a zone it points to gains 300 attack. 2 or more, or 3 or more, you can special summon a monster from your hand. And then 4, you get to draw 4 cards and then put 3 cards in your hand at the bottom of the deck in any order. Next, I play one copy of number 60, Dugar's Timeless. Dugar's Timeless, with this deck, you'll only ever use this effect to draw 2 and discard 1. However, you skip your next draw phase. And then I play one copy of Coach King Giant Trainer. Coach King Giant Trainers lets you detach material, draw a card, reveal it, then if it's a monster, you get to inflict 800 damage. And you can use that effect at Coach King Giant Trainer up to thrice per turn, or 3 times, and then if you use that effect, your battle phase is skipped. Then I play probably my favorite monster in this deck, which is number 1, Infection Buzz King. Infection Buzz King, I feel like it is a broken card in this deck. Or it's just a broken card in general. As I honestly see it as like a rank 8 version of Diablosis the Mind Hacker. But Infection Buzz King has the effect that when it's once you can only XZ summon it once per turn. You only use each of its effects once per turn. I believe you can only XZ summon it once per turn. Okay, no, you can only use each of the effects of Infection Infection Buzz King once per turn. Where during your standby phase, you can attach 1 card from your opponent's graveyard to it as material, and then if it's special summoned or XZ summoned, I honestly don't remember. When it's XZ summoned, you can look at your opponent's extra deck and send 1 card to the graveyard, and then once per turn, you can detach 1 material, destroy 1 monster your opponent controls, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. Which, the main thing with this is that you can XZ summon it, and then look at your opponent's extra deck and send a card to the grave. Okay, it targets a card, so that's the other thing I couldn't remember is you can detach material, target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it, and then if it's a monster to take damage equal to its original attack in the graveyard. And then for another new monster, I play 1 copy of Colorless Chaos King of Dark World. Colorless has the effect that when it is fusion summoned, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. Its attack is equal to the number of materials used to summon it times, I believe, times 1,000. So it's going to have at least 3,000, as it requires Rainbow Rainbow Overlord of Dark World, that's the reason why King of the Swamp is in this deck, as you really don't want to play Rainbow Overlord of Dark World. But it also has the effect that once per turn, quick effect, you can discard a card, target a monster on a Dark World on your field, and that card cannot be targeted by opponent's card effects. Or is it your Dark Worlds can't be targeted? I don't remember. Once per turn, quick effect, target 1 card, face-up card you control, discard card. There's 1 more card, also you're playing on target. Okay. So normally what you do with this is you'll activate its effect, targeting your Gates of Dark World, to then discard a card so that Gates of Dark World cannot be targeted. So your opponent can't really deal with it unless it's non-targeting removal. But this is mainly just here because normally if Colorless is being summoned, you're winning that turn. Then I play 2 copies of Grapha Dragon Dragon Overlord of Dark World. Grapha has the effect, just makes like when your opponent activates a normal spell or trap or monster effect, you can activate its effect to change that card's effect to your opponent discards 1 card. And then if this card leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can special summon a Grapha Dragon Lord Dark World from your grave or banish. And then finally for the fusions, I play 1 copy of Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera has the effect that when it's fusion summoned, you can draw cards from your deck equal to the number of monsters in your hand that you use to fusion summon it, as well as destroying cards your opponent controls equal to the number of monsters on field you use to summon it. However, if your opponent doesn't have a field, then you cannot draw cards, as you must be able to destroy cards in your opponent's field in order to draw off of the Guardian Chimera's effect. And then Guardian Chimera also cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects if Polymerization is in your graveyard. And then that's it for my Dark World deck profile. The main things I would change would either be replacing Guardian Chimera or a Grapho Dragon Overlord Dark World for what's her face? Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, just because you can link summon it on your opponent's turn using IP Masquerena and one of your opponent's monsters to do its effect. But if you have any ideas what you can do to improve the deck, other than taking out colorless, because I know a lot of Dark World players are not going to like playing colorless. But if you have any ideas what you can do to improve the deck, any ideas of decks like to see be made in the future or face each other, feel free to comment down below, and thank you so much for watching.